Alice Madness Returns is an action platforming game designed by Spicy Horse Studios, and it's on the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC. Now, American McGee, who is the designer, he's designed like a couple of like obscure games, and his Chinese-based company now has been working on this game for like a couple of years, and rightfully so. Alice deserved a sequel. However, Alice Madness Returns isn't exactly what we were expecting. Now, on one hand, you have really nice, charming graphics for the game, and the art direction is really nice. While on the other hand, you have really shitty graphics in between those, and really bland levels, and just boring platforming. Well, if you pre-ordered this, I believe you get a free card that comes with it, where you can purchase the Alice game on the Xbox Arcade. I'm not sure about the PS3 Home, but you can get that for free on Xbox Live if you pre-ordered it, or it came with that. So if you're looking for this game, I would suggest getting that as well, because if not, it's probably gonna cost you 1,200 points, which is like $14. So yeah. Overall, this game has some good points, and it has some really, really lame points. And it's not really a bad game. It's just it sometimes feels more of a task to actually play than to actually enjoy, and that's kind of the downside. And that's not what you expect in video games, especially when you're wanting to play you're wanting to interact with something, and you're wanting to gain something out of it, but instead you're just getting bullshit. Now, the story overall is about Alice from Alice in Wonderland. She has been locked up in a mental asylum for like 10 years since the last part of the game, and she's trying to break away from her reality, but at the same time trying to understand what's going on around her, and ultimately find like some form of redemption and freedom out of it by returning to Netherlands, which is actually now like overrun by evil beings and stuff. So essentially you go through every level, jump and platform and solve like puzzles and stuff, and eventually get to the end. And the story overall is pretty fluid. A lot of the voice acting is kind of cheesy though. So while you have Alice, which I think is a really decent, pretty good voice work and voiceover and everything, and she seems to have a story going on, some other characters feel out of place, and it becomes a little bit of a hassle to even bother with those things. The story, though, is pretty good, but it's not anywhere in comparison to the original game. Graphic-wise, Alice Returns uses the Unreal 3 engine, which it's starting to look a little old, and you can tell the difference between this engine and other new engines. While that might not be a bad thing overall, it does give some pretty bland textures, and when it gets dark in the game, it looks pretty dark. And if you try to adjust the brightness or something, it'll just wash out the whole screen, and it doesn't become enjoyable. Well, that might not be any comparison to Silent Hill Homecoming, because that's one of the main complaints I've heard from it. There are some good visuals in the game, especially with the characters. The characters look nice. They look kind of cartoonish, but at the same time, they have a level of detail that some games really don't, carry. But on the other hand, you just have to go through these bland levels. I know Alice's design is really, really excellent. But when you're going through the original part of the Wonderland. You have all this stuff, and it's like all this detail in the background. And this is the good part of the Wonderland. I keep on calling it Netherland, but I don't. But you have all this like detail. You have like trees and like mushrooms and stuff like that, and it looks like what you'd expect. But when you continue and progress into the darker stages, they kind of replace detail with darkness. So therefore, it's like it just kind of doesn't look as open and as detailed and as exciting as the beginning, and that does it a lot of harm. Like I said before, the sound quality is not the highest point of this game. While I would like some more like dialogue and some more interaction between the environment and probably more people talking in general, and they don't have to talk in this high chipmunkish type British accent. I don't know. I felt like some of us seemed very forced and very unreal. But then again, this is kind of a silly game, so maybe they aimed to do that. But yeah, Alice is the main star in this game, and she does work pretty well. But the music is kind of hit and miss. While it can be heard in some areas and it works in those areas, others it just becomes like a ambient. You really don't listen to it, and you really don't get into it, and that really hinders the gaming process, especially when you're trying to get through those exciting levels and you're wanting to get pumped up, but ultimately you're just kind of let down because there's really nothing on the table for you to use, let alone listen to.